Hello everyone, welcome back. Just a small update on the Ukraine, Russia, NATO, America situation, which is here in Thailand. They've been reporting finally on some of the atrocities that Ukrainian battalions in the east of Ukraine have been committing against ethnic Russian-speaking Ukrainians, which is not reported in Western media. Instead, Western media will have you believe that Russia bad, Ukraine good, and the West are heroes. Whereas in actuality, Ukraine is extremely corrupt, undemocratic, and has a battalion of neo-Nazis in the east of the country that have been committing atrocities against Russian-speaking Ukrainians. And I'm just glad to say that I live in a country that might be third world country more or less, and might be ruled under a military junta and is therefore not a democratic country, but it's freer. The information flow here is freer than it is in the West. I just thought it's interesting, and I'm really glad that in Thailand they've got discussions, and you've got people on both sides and in the middle. But overwhelmingly, the attitude in Thailand amongst Thais and amongst quite a lot of commentators on television and radio is that it's not anyone else's business. We don't need to be getting involved. We don't need the higher fuel prices and food shortages. And Russia isn't the only one to blame. And there are even those that openly admit Russia has a right to manage its own national security interests. So that's my brief update on the situation. I think what's going on is another psyops against the general population in the Western world, with the left-wing media colluding with the globalists. And it's another tool in which to transfer wealth from the working class, middle class to the elites. And unfortunately, it's not just the working class and middle class of the West that are paying the price, but it's poorer nations. For example, Sri Lanka has been devastated. I misspoke in my last video. I said Afghanistan, I meant Pakistan. Pakistan's got a population of over 200 million people. Do we really need Pakistan to be a failed state? Because they're on the verge of collapse. Turkey's on the verge of collapse. I think they're the 8th biggest economy on the planet. Rena, is that good or bad? Is it good or bad?
What?
Say bad. Correct. It's not a school day, so she's not paying attention, right? We don't need third world countries to pay the price of Western action, and that's what's going on, and it's appalling. And all of you virtue signaling, Ukraine flag posting, Facebook, social media, zealots, you're on the wrong side of history. And those who understand as I understand, I plead with you, you gotta fight against these virtue signaling narcissists who only know what to think, because they're enablers of tyranny, enablers of crimes against humanity, and that makes them dangerous. By being enablers, it makes them dangerous to our future, to my kids' futures. We're obligated as good people to do something about it. So I'm wearing my FC UK.
You're back.
Yeah, baby. Because here in Thailand, it's still everyone's wearing masks and stuff, and it drives me insane. And so when I go out in public, I struggle with my temper. I think that this t-shirt will help me because it'll tell everyone how I feel. So for you haters, no problem. Wear your masks, get your booster. That's another interesting topic, actually. I'll do a separate video on that. Death rates for working class people, so that's 18 to 64, is up by 40%, and it's not due to the pandemic, and no one's looking into it. If you had a community where the death rate increased by 40%, you would want to know, was it something in the salad, something in the water, what's causing it? But instead it's utter silence. It's another video for another time. But the world is doomed because of the West and because of America and because of the globalists. Europe, they just do whatever America asks them. Catch you later. Hello, my wife. So my wife just reminded me that they actually showed some on the Time media. They actually mentioned that there's been fake news coming out of Ukraine being reported as legitimate news, showing like Russian atrocities that were actually Ukrainian atrocities. So that's a very good point that she's brought up, and I'm really glad once again that in Thailand we get to see these things finally emerging, because that is definitely the case. There's a lot of atrocities. I don't know if a lot is the right word and if on both sides is the right word, but there are atrocities going on, and it's not just Russia bad, Ukraine good. Right? Got my sexy mama with me. Where can you find a 42-year-old mother of 3 as sexy as this, huh? Let me see your backside. Come on. I want to see your butt. Oh my gosh. Becky, look at that butt.